right, today is the day, folks. Today I picked the motor up. It is November, it is sunny out, and it is a little bit cold. So the last time you saw me was probably in the 90s. Today it is not in the 90s. We are going to utilize that there hoist to take it off the trailer. I gotta go get a trailer. And I'm gonna meet my driver at a local place, and we're gonna do a little swap. So I'll take you along for the journey. All right, welcome back to update 7? I think it's 7 now. Yeah, I said it was going to go a little slower, and yeah, I wasn't lying. It's starting to go a little slower for me by design, and maybe a little not by design. We'll talk about it in a second. We'll get through and talk a little bit about that beast sitting over here in the corner, almost ready to go into the car, and some of the stuff I've done over the few months. So hang in there. Let's discuss it now. Okay, as I typically do, we're going to go from front to rear. We're going to talk about some of the things that are different. There's honestly not a ton, maybe a few notable things. I do have the fuel regulator in place now. I got to get the fuel lines routed up to it. I haven't done that yet. But the big, one of the big things I did here was this piece across the firewall. You'll notice in previous images of this vehicle that didn't exist prior. I designed up a piece and I was going to buy some aluminum and cut it. And honestly, at the end of the day, by the time I got the materials and cut it, it cost me less to go to Send Cut Send and just have them laser cut it for me. So this was a laser cut piece that I designed up based on the dimensions of my vehicle. Sent it out to Send Cut Send and had them create a closeout panel for, this is kind of the space between your center console aluminum and just you know, above the transmission tunnel. So brand new piece went in place, went in without a hitch. Moving around, finally got some updated pieces for my hinge bracket for the hood. They didn't give me a piece that was adjustable in two directions. Both the slots were going in the same direction, so this piece needed to be updated and replaced. Got that squared away. Over here, so this guy right here, this bracket, brand new. This is, I don't know if I showed this to you in a previous video. I think I did in a short, but designed up a hanger bracket for the wiring harness. So this is the front wiring harness. As you can tell, I have the remote booster. My brake lines kind of traverse these two rails to get over to the booster. What I wanted to do is protect it from the wiring harness, give the harness somewhere to route, and kind of a slick hanging setup. Yeah, so anyways, that's a carbon fiber bracket. As you can tell, I've finally got my controls pack. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put the ECU for the powertrain. We'll talk about that in a second. I don't know if I'm going to put it on the dash panel or somewhere on the right-hand side is where the book tells you to put it, but I'm not sure yet, so working on that. Looking down into the pedal box, this is obviously your pedal controls. I now have my clutch position switch on here, so that needs to be adjusted and secured, but it's now in place. You'll notice now this red bracket, which was previously there, that was a 3D print that I did for the fuse panel setup. I've changed it a little bit, add some strengthening features in here. I got a pretty, I mean, it's stiff, man. This thing ain't going anywhere. But I got this all in place now. So the fuse panel is now 100% mounted at the right height. I did put a few holes in this because I think I might design a cover to go over it just to kind of protect it, just in case we have any type of weird rubbing conditioner God help me, a leak coming out of my master cylinder for my clutch. And of course, as you can tell, all these panels are now in place, and I started to put some of the sound deadening on there. So I'm sound deadening out into the areas I can, and once I get the trans and engine in place here, I'm gonna finish up the rest of this. As you can see, I got the accelerator pedal in place. What I can tell you about the Excel pedal is pretty wild and a little bit scary. You have to take in a pedal and pretty much destroy it and then rebuild it and put it back in place. Meaning you have to cut a piece off the bottom, you gotta cut some ears, some stiffening ears, at least one off the side. You have to trim it down flat. You basically have to shorten the whole pedal up to get it to fit. You got to turn this pad around. This pad is actually turned 180 around. I had to turn it around to get it in place. But at the end of the day, it fits really good. Kudos to Factory 5 for figuring that out. It's really nice to see that we can modify something existing and then make it work for your product. So, new pedal. All right, controversy time. Dash layout. Now, if you're going for period correct, you can probably just skip ahead because you're not going to be interested in this. If you're looking for something that is more set up to you as a person, as the builder, as the driver, pay attention, because this might make sense to you. Anyways, I am 5'10". The standard dash layout takes your speedo, puts it over here. Your tack is relatively in the same spot, and all your other gauges are kind of slid over a bit further towards the driver, but not too much further. I opted out of it. So sitting in the Mark V you sit a little lower in. And what I can tell you is as a 5'10" guy, looking over this dash, over the cowl section here, it's a bit tough because you're down low, man. You're sitting down here like this, right? So what I opted to do is I got the chair. I ended up putting about a 2-inch lift on the chair, got the chair at the right height where I was comfortable that I was seeing over the dash. I had it. Perception-wise, I think I'm gonna be able to see most of the hood. And then I started looking at the gauges and I said, the speedo doesn't make any sense sitting over here in this corner hidden by the spoke of the steering wheel. What it made, and because I'm not as interested in the speedo as I am the tack, let me get at the right height here. I said, let's move the speedo up and over to the right and then move all the rest of the gauges over just a hair. I have good clear vision to the Smith style gauge speedo because the gauge goes in counterclockwise direction for speed. I probably will never hit more than 130, so I don't really care to see that small winked corner of it. In the tack, I have good vision for my overall RPM band that this engine can hit, so I'm happy with this layout. I think this layout looks really good. I would highly suggest getting the chair in this Mark V, sit in it, get your body kind of positioned at the right height, distance to your pedals, and then lay out your dash. I think you'll be happier as the outcome will be a little more personal and a lot less just whatever was a race car in the day setup. Just, yeah, words of advice. So for the back, not a ton to talk about. I'm still waiting on a new trunk piece. As you can see, the way they bent and formed my rear trunk aluminum, something's wrong here. That is the hole cut out for the fuel pump. My fuel pump's here. So the best I can tell, this is a very symmetrical piece. You can see we have a cutout around for the kickstands on each side, and in general, this is a very symmetrical piece. My guess is when they put this in and bent these flanges, so you got a flange that sits against your rear cross member, and then you have another main tube that goes laterally halfway up the trunk. That flange is bent over, and this flange is bent up. Well, they bent it in reverse. So my guess is they probably punch out this piece. When they put it inside the tool to bend it, they just went in the wrong way, and I got my flanges in the wrong orientation. Not a big issue. I think I could probably fix this if I had a press brake. Well, I don't have a press brake, so I called them up. Factory 5 is pretty decent to work with. They said, hey, we'll get that piece sent out to you. Now, the only downfall is I got to wait for them to send it, and it's been about 13 weeks. So we are still waiting for the piece. So I'm not terribly happy about that, but I'll wait. It's not something that's holding me up right now. I've 3D printed some other pieces. This is a cover. So everybody building a Roadster knows about the rear fuel tank strap. It kind of goes through your rear fascia aluminum. I just designed a cover that covers it up. And this is carbon fiber, and seems to do a pretty good job of doing that. I had a few other pieces I laid out here just to show you guys what the development cycle looks like on. This is my standoff for the wiring harness up front. So this is kind of the design iteration around that. Again, I used my phone, did some 3D scans of the steel frame, and then designed a bracket up to it. So man, if you got the ability to design some brackets up, you can have a lot of fun using your phone in conjunction with a design software. All right, so let's talk about the Coyote in the room, if you will. All right, the Coyote took a little time to get a hold of. The motor was on back order from Ford Performance for probably 4 to 5 weeks. It took a few extra weeks beyond that. All in all, it took about 12 weeks, I think, to get this motor. 11 or 12 weeks, which was a bit longer than the original 3 to 4 that they quoted me. So just be ready. When it's time for you to put a motor in, or you think you're getting close to it, give yourself about 3 or 4 weeks ahead of that. So maybe a month, plan a month out. And you know, if you're gonna purchase a motor, that is, rather than build your own, because you're gonna probably need that time. The motor itself, it's pretty fantastic. One of the biggest problems, and I have solved it, is regarding this power steering pump. One thing to note with the Coyotes, the Gen 4s specifically, they changed. There's a few bosses that this pump mounts to, and it's a little tough to see. You can kind of see it down in this area. There's a stand-up. Anyway, there's a few spacers in here. I'll throw a picture in here so you can see. There's a few spacers. There's 3. There's one here, one back here, and one up here. It seems like the boss that's kind of inboard did not change height-wise, so that spacer is correct. The boss on the outboard side and the boss on the top side had changed a bit. So this one got a bit longer, and when I mean a bit longer, I literally put a couple thin shims in there and shimmed it up. And then the one at the top was a lot shorter. So it was almost, I would say, about a ½ inch shorter. So I don't know what they changed in the heads, but obviously they did some tooling changes in the timing cover in the head. So yeah, this was a bit of a challenge. I called up KRC. KRC doesn't really have a solution yet, so I had to make it work. So the good news is, got it done. So I got that in here. I put in my water pump pulley, which is brand new, and now I just have to get the belt in here and get it adjusted out. Transmission-wise, Factory 5 is part of the package. So when they do the package for you, they do the modification to the oil filter. They put whatever clutch you want to put on here. I went with a hydraulic clutch, so I got my hydraulic throw-up bearing clutch installed. And of course the Tremec TKX. This is a 5-speed transmission. The only thing I got to do, and I'm not going to do it yet, I'm going to end up reversing these positions, I think. I'm going to get it in the car. I'll make that decision once I get the shifter in to see if I like it in the rear position with a canted stick forward, or if I want to move it a little bit further forward. It'll just be based on my own desires once I get it in. Yeah, one more thing, just in case you didn't notice, the dolly is now out of the way. We are dolly-less underneath this vehicle. I got it on jack stands finally. Essentially, I'm in the final position in the garage for the install to give me enough room to move the engine hoist around and drop the motor in with enough room for people to get around the vehicle and get this in place. This will be its final position until I get probably some wheel dolly jacks, just so I can move the car around after everything's installed and it's a bunch, well, we'll say 600 pounds heavier. One of the last things I got to get still is my headers. Ordered my headers from Gasson. If you get them from Gasson, I've heard the quality is great, and it's one of the reasons I went with them. They were a little bit cheaper than Factory 5 to get the headers, but they take a long time. So just keep this in mind. These are all hand-built headers or pipes that they do. And you're gonna have to have some patience, pack your patience for sure. I've talked to the guy a few times. We are at 13 weeks since I ordered them, so I kind of let him know I wasn't too crazy about the fact we're at 13 weeks and I still don't have them. He promised me that this week they will be getting shipped out and I'll get a notification. So I'll let you know how this goes. Right now, just keep in mind that if you order headers from Gasson or order pipes from Gasson, they're hand built and they obviously have a back order. It takes a while to get them. So yeah, I'm eagerly waiting those. I would love to be able to get those on immediately once I get the motor in. And so I'm probably going to be about 2 weeks out, I'm guessing, before I'll even get the motor in. So hopefully this will just kind of coincide perfectly for the build. So the big question is what's left to do, right? Before I get the engine in. So besides finalizing some of the stuff in the engine, I have to put a few sensors on there. I got an oil and water temp sensor. It needs to be installed. I want to uninstall the main steering shaft to get it out of the way for the motor install. The motor install is going to be tight. I mean, when I measured the overall width of the motor to the overall width of the space that I have to put it in, it's going to be tight. We got about an inch, maybe an inch per side, maybe a half an inch per side. It's tight. I mean, it's finger clearance tight, right? So it's going to be a fun project. I think it's going to require. I like to get one person on the jack or the hoist, and maybe one person per side to kind of guide it down, and that would probably make me feel safe that we're going to get it in place without banging up all the panels on the way in. I mean, the object is not to ruin my pretty paint job during this whole process, but yeah, you guys know how it goes. Yeah, that's update 7, folks. I'll bring you along. I'll try and record the install process, and I'll tell you all the challenges I had with going about that. And I'll bring you along for the ride. Thanks. See you.